Alright, what's up guys? Coming here with another Houston Texans video. So today is April 29th, 2015. The draft's tomorrow, and just coming on here with a quick thought and what I think the Houston Texans will do or should do with the number 16 pick. So there's been rumors out there that Houston's probably going to try to get a receiver, but going over my mock draft and looking at other mock drafts, I think Cooper White, Devontae Parker, and even Brashard Perriman won't be there at 16. And they've already said that Rick Smith isn't interested in trading up, and he really hasn't traded up since he's been the general manager of the Texans, so I don't see that being a possibility. But looking at the draft board, I've seen people say maybe Todd Gurley, but he's getting a lot of stock. His stock's risen a lot recently, so I don't think he'll be a possibility at 16 either. And then yesterday we signed Chris Polk, who I've been a big fan of since he came out of Washington. He really hasn't had the career that you would expect him to have. He really didn't play too much on the Eagles till last year, and he had a kick return. He had a good game against Houston when we played them last season. And given the right role on the goal line is what he's a pretty much a goal line runner. He can get in there and get those 1, 2 yard runs that you need. He's a bruiser. So I think that's another reason the Houston might not pick Gurley because they just got another running back that could help take the load off Foster, especially in goal line situations. Um, Looking at the board and what Houston should do, this is a tough call because they kind of need some corner depth. But do you really draft first round for depth? I feel like you draft for starters or a guy that's rotational enough that would make an impact. And I know Jonathan Joseph's probably done with the team at the end of the year, but then maybe look till next year's draft, they'll get another corner. I don't think a year in advance drafting a guy that's not going to really play would make a lot of sense. And with all the off-field issues that was happening with Randy Gregory and Shane Ray recently, I think they could possibly be a possibility for the Texans at 16. I like Ray a lot. I think he's a great player. He has a ridiculous motor, and he never gives up. And I think that's someone he kind of reminds me. Well, it doesn't remind me of him, but he has a motor that J.J. Watt has. Like, just keeps going. Like, even though he doesn't have the size and speed that people expect you to have as an NFL player, he has that motor, and you can't teach that. You can go to the weight room and lift more weights. You can look at the playbook and look at what these guys' techniques are, but you can't teach that motor. So I think if Shane Ray falls to 16, Houston's got to take a look at him. I know he's got a citation for marijuana Monday morning. His foot, which I saw, they said doctors cleared him. I know the weed is kind of they're going to scare away from him, but he's already admitted into the NFL drug program, which it is bad because it's not a good image for you, but it is good in a way because the NFL will now have him under a microscope to make sure he doesn't do anything dumb off the field again. So I think that's good for him and bad, but for the teams, I think it should be good because now they know these players will be watched more frequently. So I think that's good for him. I think he'd be good at 16. Randy Gregory's pretty small, so I don't think Houston would take him. They kind of like bigger or just decent sized linebackers, and that'd be right. I could also see them trading down. I had a scenario them trading down. The Cardinals could trade up to get um, Melvin Gordon if Todd Gurley's not available. Houston trades down, maybe looks at an inside linebacker at 24. Eric Kendricks, one of my favorite players in this draft from UCLA. He's a great inside linebacker. That's something Houston could use, and they could like I said, they could get more picks from trading from 16 to 24. Malcolm Brown, I think he's a good player. He's a defensive end, defensive tackle, nose tackle. He can play all the positions. And I think Jared Crick's days might be numbered after this season. He really hasn't been that productive with Watt on the other side. I think he'd have better seasons, but he really hasn't been that great. So maybe Malcolm Brown comes in this year, rotational guy, comes in, just rotates with Crick and stuff like that, or if Watt needs a break, he'll come in. And then next year, if we let Crick go, then you let him play. So I think that would probably be the most options. You can maybe pick a corner. But I think the corner class is deep enough that you could get good depth in the second or third round. So I don't think that's a major priority in the first round. But I would say Shane Ray, Malcolm Brown, trade down if they want. Eric Kendricks would be a good idea, or any of those other linebackers. I think they're all the first couple guys are pretty good, but I like Eric Kendricks the best. But or if say like Devontae Parker's there at 13, I think they got to trade up. I think they jump before to Miami, pick Parker. He's a big physical receiver that could be great in front of aside of DeAndre Hopkins. So maybe trade up for Parker, stay there at 16, take Shane Ray or Malcolm Brown, or trade down to 24, or trade down and just get Eric Kendricks. Leave your comments below in the comment section, and hopefully it'll be a good draft. And I think the Bill O'Brien regime will start getting this team back to where it needs to be, and we'll be a dominant football team this season. Besides that, let's go Texans.